Welcome students for your unit 2 part 4 in logistic manufacturing supply chain and distribution. So here we are going to talk about mainly about MRP and different MRPs and what is how ERP is major scope. So what is MRP? MRP is a material requirements planning. So it is a computer based information system for ordering and scheduling of different demand inventories. It is a production planning system or the production planning process that starts from the demand for the finished goods and plans the production step by step sub-assemblies and parts. So these are independent demand and dependent demand. So this is the main aspect of an MRP. So over here it is being taken into account as uh, MRP inputs, what is the processing and how the outputs is. So if you see the MRP inputs, master schedule of any product is given. So what is the process? What are the procurement aspects has to be taken into account? What are the different materials which has to be procured? So that is given by the bill of materials over here, following with the inventory records, what is already available. So what does in the processing is the computer is programs and the primary reports is being sent to the planned order schedules. So the order is released and any changes has to be happening. All these things will gives us the outputs over here. Secondary reports are exception reports, planning, performance control reports, everything comes over here, followed by the inventory transaction. So once all these data are given, the program is going to take into account the primary reports goes over here and our planned order is being done, followed by any exceptions has to be given is followed, then finally the transaction is done. So everything is done over here itself. So this is an overall layout how an MRP works. So what are the inputs for MRP? Master production schedules, which is MPS. So time phase planning is one of the important aspect. So MPS comes from the sales and marketing. So it covers 1 to 3 months into the future. So whatever products we are going to produce, it covers the entire future over here itself. Cumulative lead time is the sum of the lead time that sequentially phases of a process required from ordering of parts or raw materials to completion of final assembly. From now until cumulative time, uh, plan are generally frozen. Sometimes MPS is capacity filter. So in MRP, if you see the bill of materials, it's a listing of all different raw materials, parts, sub-assemblies, and assemblies which needed to produce one unit of a product. So that is known as bill of materials. Also, there is another phase called product tree structure, visual depiction of the requirement in a bill of materials where all the components are listed by level, each different levels. But when you see, mostly we would have heard about bill of materials at all phases because this is a commonly used practice in current industry. So BOM is one of a common term which we need to know at industrial level, while in especially in procurement and all. So this is one of a good example, explosion example, how to assemble a chair. So if the third stage is over here, so two legs have to be taken into account, one crossbar. So that is a separate assembly. A seat is being separately procured. So side rails, crossbar, back supports are back assemblies which are separately procured. So these are put into together, which forms a chair at the final stage. So this is one of a explosion example for how my bill of materials or the product tree assemblies works over here. So how many leg assemblies are needed for one chair? Those kind of questions can be answered from the existing diagram. How many crossbars are needed for 5 chairs? Computing how many parts are required per final product is called a BOM explosion. So MRP will be answering these questions in the view of production lead times. Not only it tells you how many, but also when it is required to procure them. So this is a major aspect of MRP. So this is a small example for that how an MRP is going to answer our questions. So when you see an assembly time chart, so it then number 1 to 11 are set in weeks. So the procurement of each material is how it is being done. So parallelly, which material can be procured. So if these two materials procured up, what type of a fabrication can be done. So while doing the fabrication, what and all can be procured. So in this aspect, there is another parallel line which can be taken into account. So this is the one stage where the assembly time chart will be helpful. So which part to be procured at what time. So this is mostly called critical path analysis also. So which stages has to be completed so that the other stage can start the initial stages itself. So when you complete all those phases, you'll get a final assembly and inspection. This is one good case study for any kind of an automotive. So well, here I'll take up my tire procurement, my spare part procurements over here, engines could come in. So putting up all those different materials from different customers, and during the welding fabrication also will be taken place. Once all those things are sub-assembled and final assembly is done, inspecting out will be an entire set of cars. So this is a base example which is being given for understanding the assembly time chart. So beginning inventory on hand, so it has to be given in as an input. Scheduled receipts, pipelining the inventory, not received yet, but it is in the process of coming to the inventory. We know when this will be available for use. So these are the third input for the MRP in the inventory levels. So what are the other considerations to be taken into account is like safety stock. So not much for items with dependent demand, but it needs to know for the independent demand. So lot sizing has to be taken into account, lot for lot ordering, economic order quantity, fixed period ordering, and part period model has to be taken into account. So what is the updates? Regenerative MRP, do the planning from the scratch, time between regeneration is long, okay for stable environments. So net change in MRP is the updating the plan according to whatever changes happening in the manufacturing aspect. So what is the output? So we get a planned orders, as we said, then it releases the orders, so the procurement can be taken into account. Say if there is any changes in due dates or other quantities, changes is also taken into account. Performance and control reports are taken up for audit aspects, planning those reports and exception reports. Exception reports are certainly when there is a change in the entire design aspect or quantity aspects. So capacity planning requirement, the process determines the short range capacity requirements, which loads the report department or work center reports that compare known and expected future capacity requirements with the project capacity and availability. So it also goes with a series of time intervals during which the order changes are allowed or being restricted. So this has to be taken into account, especially while ordering. So when you talk about capacity planning, we develop a tentative master production schedule. Followed that, this is being fed into the MRP simulated material requirements, which is then converted material requirement to resource requirement. If that goes on aspect, firm up a portion of the MPS. If it is not given back to that, so no means can capacity be changed to meet the requirements. If yes, change the capacity and get back. If no, we have to revise the tentative master production schedule, which is then fed to the MRPs at the initial stage itself. So based on whatever capacity we have, this aspect of capacity planning will be taken up to use using MRP. So these are a few examples for food catering services or hotel renovation. A few examples which is done with the help of an MRP in services. So what is the benefits is low levels of in-process inventory, ability to track material requirements, ability to evaluate capacity requirements, means to allocating production times and all. Eventually, it is a database with limited decision-making capability. So what is the requirement of MRP? The basic requirements are computer necessary softwares, accurate and up-to-date inputs, master schedules, bill of materials, inventory records, and the integrity of the data is mostly important. Following that, the expanded MRP with the emphasis of placed on integration is financial planning, marketing, engineering, purchasing, manufacturing. This is the second phase, MRP2. So that is the second phase or upgraded part. So how this works? So the market demand is fed into the production planning. Rough cut of the capacity planning is done. So if there is a problems again, so the production planning has to be adjusted. If there is no other problems, it is sent to the MPS, master production schedule, followed through the MRP, then the capacity planning. If there is no other problem, requirements are being scheduled. So once the requirement schedules are being done, it is sent through the MRP to the procurement aspect, then production is being initiated. So in the production planning, finance, marketing and manufacturing departments have to be taken into account. So this is one important phase for in MRP2. So when you talk about ERP, enterprise resource planning, as an expanded effort to integrate standardized record keeping that will permit information sharing throughout the entire organization. So within the ERP, these MRP and MRP2 will be taken into account, so that effortless procurements are easily done over here. So with this, we'll close up our video for this session. Thank you.